Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast here, and a little bit of an emergency pod here. I want to get a reaction, of course. The wrestling world is a little bit out of control or in a buzz. The one and only R-Truth, R-Killings, was released earlier this morning. R-Killings posting on X. I'm sorry to inform you all, I got released from the WWE. I wanted to thank the fans, the WWE fans, for the ride. Mostly, I wanted to thank each and every one of you who rode along with Truth. I feel so bad here. I want to finish reading his statement. What a sad course of events. Mostly want to thank each and every one of you who was along with the ride. Thank you for the love and support, appreciation who's given me for all of the years. Thank you. No, we should be thanking R-Truth. R-Truth was one of those guys that whatever situation the WWE put him in, where was that goofy 24/7 program, he killed it. He knocked it out of the park. What a terrible, bitter pill to swallow. And I know there's a lot of naysayers or contrarians, because this is what IWC on Twitter loves to do. There's a lot of stupid contrarians where they'll say he was 53 years old. All that, you might be right, but it's not the time to be pointing at that. He was 53 years old, but whatever he gave, whatever was put on his plate for R-Truth, he knocked it out of the ballpark. He was on Saturday night's main event where a lot of people were complaining, why is he wrestling with John Cena? Well, hindsight is 2020. He had his final match against John Cena. If he would have never had that match with John Cena and he would have got released, I think the uproar would have been even more tragic. Doesn't mean it's correct. My question I'm asking, has WWE lost their touch where respect, loyalty, hustle of the performers that are there? Like, what's next? When are we waiting for the news to break down that Natalya Neidhart is going to get released? Because they're not being used and they need to save a buck. Now, everyone wants to jump all over Paul Levesque, Triple H. That is his, he should be the one making these. He's the ones making these calls. I think it's a collaborative effort when it comes to TKO board members. Nick Khan, Triple H has to be in on this, and so forth. I think a booker, a talent relation guy, never want to get rid of their talents. I think you want to hold as many bullets, as many talented wrestlers in your roster as much as possible, as much as financially it makes sense. I don't think a booker wants to get rid of talent. I don't think a booker wants to say, I don't want this person, I don't need this person. I think every booker, regardless of what company it is, and you see that with All Elite Wrestling, and it's not about All Elite Wrestling right now, so please don't misinterpret or pointing or tribalism. No, I'm not. I'm just saying any booker from any want to keep every available talent on their roster, regardless if it makes financial sense or not, because you never know when you're going to need that arsenal, that talent, skill set, and plug them in. R-Truth, no matter where you put him in, backstage promos, he just chuckled. He's one of those wrestlers that made talent who are supposed to be this mean, quiet, menacing, or just break out a smile, from Damian Priest. I mean, his job there when he was part of the Judgment Day, that was one of the most golden comedic stuff given. It hurts to see him leave. It hurts for him to be not being released. I think they could have really saved face, especially where 24 hours prior to his release, you have things going trending for Karrion Kross not being put in the Money in the Bank. Where what's the excuse for Karrion Kross now? He's a young, talented. He's younger than Truth. He's over. He's selling merchandise. Last time I saw that the Ron Cena shirt was selling as well. So I don't get what TKO is doing here. They're selling money. They're making money. They're selling T-shirts. They're selling merchandise. It's not about not making buck. They're still making money with R-Truth. They're still making money with Karrion Kross. What's going on? What's the big end game here? Are they deliberately trying to piss off fans to see how much they can make them break to their will? And be careful, because there's more than just two wrestling companies. There's many wrestling companies out there where fans could turn their love towards, or totally be disgusted and move away from professional wrestling with all the politicking and all this corporation bullshit that's happening right now. I hate to call it that way, but it's a lot of corporate bullshit that they're feeding us, where it's okay for you to tell us each and every media scrum that you're selling out arenas, you're making the highest record gates possible, you're charging astronomical fees for your product, where right now as a wrestling consumer, we're willing to purchase them and tolerate and spend. But then when you go and you do these type of emotional hits, and I know this is a business world, it's not an emotional world. You don't make money on emotions, you make money on business and making the right decision. But at the end of the day, wrestling is a feel-good sport. It's an artwork that it's a feel-good, where you see evil versus good. When you see good triumph over evil, there's still that storyline basic, where you want to send home everyone feeling good after a WrestleMania, after a premium live event. That's still emotional. You're still touching into people's emotion. But when you start getting rid of fan favorites and you're starting to cut corners and you're trying to say, ageism, you bring on unnecessary heat to your product. You just got out of the stigma or the bad taste of Vince McMahon's allegations, where, he was terrible creative. He was bringing the product down. You started to restore the good feeling. You started to restore, wrestling is cool again, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said. Oh, wrestling is cool again. We make wrestling cool again. But then you make these kind of moves and these decisions where it pisses off fan bases from, it's not just releasing wrestlers. It's from changing locations for venues. You did that with the WrestleMania. You announced that you're going to New Orleans, where a lot of the independent scenes are booking their WrestleCons, their events. No, they don't have the big financial means to go ahead and move location just like that. They have to give deposits to some of these arenas, all these small venues, so they could book and make shows and want to eat off of the WWE system and help, book shows and talented wrestlers who are inspiring, who wants to be there and want to wrestle in front of an audience. You go ahead and you change that. That's another slap in the face. You go ahead and you book around other companies like you want to destroy. I wasn't one of those who cared if they're going to do a Great American Bash, Women's Evolution, Saturday Night's Main Event alongside of All Elite Wrestling. But when you start seeing things like this, where they cut certain favorite wrestlers for no reason, like, is it because of the age, the financial? I don't know. It doesn't look good for you, WWE. It doesn't look good for TKO. I can't defend that. I can't defend a guy who rehabbed. I was there in the Performance Center that November after Halloween Havoc, when R-Truth came out, had that match with Grayson Waller, and he hurt and tore his hamstring. I was there in attendance in the Performance Center and seeing R-Truth carried away. I said, man, we might not see Truth back. He's 51 years old, got the injury. I don't know if he's going to return. He came back. Not only that, he became a tag team champion with The Miz in a great moment. He was so hilarious with the Judgment Day. He was just this past week, this Friday night SmackDown. He was so hilarious, almost had Solo Sikoa. He almost had Jacob Fatu crack in laughter on live television on Friday night SmackDown. And this is what you do? You let him go like you're not renewing his contract? I hope they give a right send-off. Look, is there a perfect world? No, there is no perfect world. There's nothing. There wouldn't have been a way to handle it. No certain scenario to handle it. Look, he cannot rest. He cannot be in the company forever. I know nothing lasts forever. But wouldn't it look nice? The WWE has issued not renewing my in-ring performing contract, but we've come to an agreement to a Legends deal. Plain and simple. R-Truth goes into a Legends deal. That's it. That's all he needed to do. Announce it. Just announce they're going into and not say he's totally being released. Because It's us speculating. Is he going to a Legends deal? We're speculating. There's no truth. There's no factual truth from the WWE, TKO, or R-Truth saying he's getting a Legends deal. Now, if they would have said that, I think the blow or the sting would have been much more tolerated and much more easily taken than just saying he's released. It's like they're saying, get your stuff at the end of the month when your contract is out and get the hell out of the company. That's what it feels like. And a guy who's given so much for over 20 plus years and all the crap booking and all the comedy and all the stupidity, it's not his fault because he killed it. He did what he was told. He was a great soldier who's told what to do, great entertainer. He got over with everything that they gave him. And you're telling him you're not renewing him. I wish they would have went with the give him a Legends contract. Say, you know what? We're announcing R-Truth is getting a Legends contract. Now it feels like you're doing damage control. If he does that right now, they announce he's doing a Legends deal. It's like you're doing damage control. And WWE is putting themselves each and every month under TKO in a bad predicament. They're putting themselves in so much bad predicament. They're taking all the good vibe, the good feeling that they try to restore in this company, and they're throwing it out the window. And be honest with you, they don't give a shit. They don't care. The board members don't care because they're making millions of dollars in money, in profits on us watching the product, even complaining about the product, even us bitching on the video. They're still making money on us. They're still making tons of money. It's kind of sucks. It sucks for the performers. Look at the outpour of the talent all across the social media platforms, just giving their love and respect to R-Truth. You just look at it. You all follow social media. You're under a rock if you don't have a social media account, or you're lying. You know, there might be a 2% or 5%. I'm going to give you even a better benefit of the doubt. 5% that don't have social media accounts, period. Everyone has a social media account. Everyone knows and sees what's going on. The outpour, the love that R-Truth has gathered and earned from every talent from across, not just across WWE, all across professional wrestling. You see it there. It's not a good look, guys. It's not a good look. It's not a good look where talent now, when they know a contract is expiring, they're going to put it in the back of their head. Am I getting re-signed, or am I going to let are they going to give my contract expiration? And they're going to tell me, we're not going to renew you. That's the state of professional wrestling right now, where we wanted Vince out. We wanted them to sell. Sometimes, sometimes you'd rather work with the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Just put that out there. What's next for R-Truth? He has a music career. Hopefully he's been wise with his financials. Again, hopefully a Legends deal. Of course, I think he'll kill it if he wants to go. Special appearances on the independent scene if he wants to. The independent scene right now all across this nation is on fire. From coast to coast, from Midwest to the Northeast, down to the South, the independent scene in professional wrestling is on fire. There is so many independent shows, so many bookings available for the independent scene, for Ron Killings if he wants to go that route. It also signings, going and get some meet and greets. That's another way of making money. He knows what he's doing. Who are we to tell him? He knows what he's doing. But my point is, I don't think we're going to see the end of Ron Killings, aka R-Truth. I don't know if he's going to do a full-time wrestling program. I don't know. Some of these guys do. Look, Tommy Dreamer wrestles each and every week, plus being a booker for TNA. You've got guys that wrestle. He could still go? Absolutely, he could still go. He could hype a crowd up. He could definitely give a boost to an independent scene for whatever independent company gets him. You know, if I am House of Glory in Florida, in Orlando, that they're opening up soon, I'm calling Truth to come in from time to time. And you know how people are going to go in House of Glory, Florida, who's trying to get off. It's getting, off the ground, ready to go. That's a guy you bring in. R-Truth in just for appearances, just his name alone on the marquee. You have Matt Cardona who lives here. You give me a match with Matt Cardona and R-Truth for the House of Glory in Orlando. If they do a show here, it just kicks. It just says, here, take my money. Take my money. Let's go. So we'll see what happens for our R-Truth, R-Killing. And that's all I've got to say about it. I wanted to give you my reactions. I know he's going to land on his feet. I know he's just that guy, that talented, beloved, and wherever he goes, I think he's going to have a huge fan base. And for TKO WWE, you're trending on a really slippery slope of ice where you're going to lose a lot of fan base. They might not go to All Elite Wrestling. They might not go to TNA. They might just leave the whole industry because you're chasing the money from the celebrities who is not going to invest their money in the wrestling business. They're going to use the exposure to get themselves over. Where you got the hardworking men and women that want to pay, go to work, come home and escape from their 9 to 5, working in the heat, working, taking crap from, if you're working as a public servant worker and you want to escape and you want to see someone get their boss, get their teeth kicked, and we watch wrestling. Because we kind of escape the realism there, not the professionals, not the celebrities that trying to draw and take the clout and take the money away from the performance for their pockets, for their benefits. But that's just me. Don't forget, we have a couple of independent wrestlers that we're going to interview this week. Check us out here on the Hill of the Ring podcast with Chris, myself. Don't forget, we do the watch-alongs. Monday Night Raw, we got the watch-alongs on the Playback app. Tuesday for NXT. Does Mike Santana beat Trick Williams? We have to take a look at that. We got TNA, and of course, Friday Night SmackDown into the weekend of Money in the Bank, as well as Worlds Collide of House of Glory Puerto Rican weekend. That is our schedule. I am BS Sports Jedi Kev. I hope you like the video. We'll share it. We'll see you next time here. We'll talk to you next time. Don't get pinned, kick out. Always get yourself over, and we'll see you next time. May the sports be with you.